Hello there. It has been a while, to say the least. But finally, I think it's time. It's time to explain a little bit of what I've been doing. It's time to share my story and explain why this game means so much to me. Because Minecraft is a truly timeless game. It has given me some of my best and worst memories, and I think it's time I share that. So in this video, I'm gonna tell my story. My Minecraft story. My biggest projects, everything I've done, and where I'm going. So if that's the case, then let's start at the beginning, why don't we? At the very beginning. Season 1. This was where it all began. This was my first actual base. And for it being my first one, I was rather proud. Also, don't mind the subtitles. They're not gonna line up with what I'm saying. This was taken from a special episode I did in Season 4, which we'll get to later. But it was a rather good time. This season, only 2 people, me and Lightfish. We didn't really interact much, built separately, often chatted while we built, and it was good. Very early, so my building wasn't that good. It's definitely improved, but it wasn't horrible. I really loved the nether portal. This is where I first played with nether portals, really, and I quite enjoyed that. Yeah, this was where it all started. It'll always be a special place because this was my first real experience playing this game. Actually progressing beyond just diamond tools. Well, netherite hadn't come out yet, so diamond tools, but enchanted. But yeah, Firedog Light joined, and then we decided to reset. And that's where Season 2 was. And that's where I started recording for the first time. And it was recording that gave me precisely what I wanted. We invited 2 more people, Nemesis and Blue Bayou. And, well, maybe Blue Bayou. I don't remember his username, but something like that. And we built a fantastic server. This was the pinnacle of my Minecraft career. Although the builds are not the best, we had so much fun during this world. So many fun interactions, lots of inspiration drawn from Hermitcraft, a very popular server. And I built a mountain, temple. We had fun interactions, had a war too. And so so I started here, this measly little witch hut, and from there we built up the walls of a shopping district, built some roads. This was once an abandoned village. The only surviving structure is Firedog Light's house. And we had a few mods from time to time. First mod being custom recipes, which allowed for the creation of spawners and all of that. And then the 3 of us added 2 more people collectively. We added Nemesis and Blue. They settled far away, or at least Blue did. Firedog Light stayed at the central village. Nemesis went over to the mountain by my industrial district. And Firedog eventually moved there too. And then me and Lightfish, the OG2, split up and went to 2 different locations. He started work on his base, which was massive and ambitious. He never finished it, unfortunately. I barely managed to finish mine. I built a tree. Glorious, glorious tree. It was slow working on it. It was a slow and very tedious process, especially getting all the wood. But in the end, this was my very first mega base. And it is still one of my proudest accomplishments. And so that was season 2. Eventually, we had to add more members. We were late in the season. I already finished my tree. And so we decided, let's start a new season. And so, just like that, we went to season 3. But first, we're going to take a slight detour. Because towards the end of the season, me and Lightfish he was still busy, but I started kind of getting bored. And so, I started work on a game here. But I needed to do a lot of AFKing for the game. So, in the meantime, me and Lightfish, kind of tired of the grind, created another small server. What would be a server. And thus, Crafter's Keep was born. Crafter's Keep was an amazing, creative server, purely meant for expressing creativity. We started here, built a map of the surrounding area. You can see something we'll visit in a minute. We had fun. We built our own village. And decided that we'd invite other people. We never, unfortunately, got to that point, as burnout is very hard. And a new season of the realm started. But we built a nice, lovely village. I built a dock, decorated it, had mines, and this links together. Well, it looks really weird, but it links together there to over here. And it was gonna link up every single on the server. This build was one of my favorites. It was really fun to do, and I tried to make it interactive with having some explosions underneath lava. It was quite a fun build. Like that. Bam. And it looks really menacing when you have shaders on. But this was a great time. But now, let's resume to Season 3. A season of overly ambitious projects, some fun, but a lot of high tensions. I decided I had a grand vision to build a giant mountain, and inside the mountain would be 4 or 5 distinct biomes. But unfortunately, we ran out of time. We built a shopping district, as per usual, and it never really got used. People just didn't want to sell things. Too much of a grind. But I built up a couple shops, as you can see. These are all mine. This was a part of a corporation known as ExoCorp. The intention of this corporation was to sort of be almost villainous. Your classic industrial people destroying the environment, and there would be a piece of it in my build. Right over here was going to be a small city, kind of a rural town, and then near it would be a massive industrious corporation, ExoCorp, and they were going to try and use the mountain and harvest it of all its resources, but then they broke into the mountain and saw the massive biomes, and so now they're harming all the nature. There were some other projects, other bases. Over there's Lightfish base. And this was a rather good season. There was a cold war between Lightfish, Freezy, and also Shadow and Shoulder Bros. That really raised the tension. Within a week, both sides had full netherite gear and a bunch of super weapons, being end crystals and all the sort. They were learning how to build TNT cannons, preparing for full-blown war. Luckily, it never boiled over, other than a few skirmishes. So now, on to Season 4. But an alternate reality of it. In that season. But I'm glad that season's... That was all the footage I could find, because that season was so incredibly short-lived. All I have are really early renditions of the season. So what went wrong? Why didn't that season ever get officially published? Because that was going to be Season 4. We started working and we made a mistake, because we thought we could encourage interactions and fun by restricting everyone to this island. However, this island was a little too small. And that season I was going to go really lore heavy. So I started work, and I was going to go somewhere with that meteor crash. In episode 1, a meteor was going to crash at the end of that episode, emitting a dark presence. There was going to be stuff with mirror dimensions, I know. A bunch of lore heavy stuff. I'm not sure if this is my base, but I feel like it could have been. But the season never took off. We just wanted a different world, and so we went to what would become Season 4. And during Season 4, midway, I thought it'd be nice to take a trip back through memory lane, and so that's when I released that special episode where I was chasing myself through time. I went back through Season 1, 2, 3, and the current season, which was 4. But I never came here. And so that was the only footage where I hinted at an alternate version of Season 4. One where stuff went wrong and I became evil. And I guess became a threat to all of space-time. So that's fun. So that's this world. Now on to the actual Season 4. And this is where it started. Season 4, very start. We went with this giant cave because it looked kind of cool, and we figured that could be an interesting spawn. Firedog Light ended up settling over here in a little cozy den. Lightfish went off, and I built a small little temple. Did a little bit of redstone. Kinda cool. But I quickly moved on. During the season, about midway through, me and Freezy created a corporation, an alliance of corporations, and we called it Hypocorp, and our goal was to provide transport across the server. There are no boats in there. There are boats. What? Oh, chest boat. Those aren't chest boats. Okay, whatever. And so we created the first ice bridge. And this linked my base to spawn. So we're gonna take this. Ice boats are so much fun. So the goal of Hypocorp was for me to build ice bridges, and Freezy would build rails. The rails would connect two bases in a more short-range kind of way, while the ice bridges were meant for the main districts. So, right over here is my base. Started with another portal outside entrance, and mine was split into two halves. The actual base half, and this was a really cool room. This was fun to design and build. And then we built a storage room. Didn't get much use out of it, but oh well. And then we went, we'll go back over here. This is very hard for creative. We built this room, and this was going to be a game, but it never was finished. Too ambitious. Kind of a dungeon crawler. And the last major project was this big room, which looks very nice. Very, very nice. And then we were gonna have different biome themed sections, so like Deep Dark, Volcano. And we were gonna do the first one, mushrooms. This is concept. This is not an actual world, this was a creative one. Well, it is the actual. This, I just made a copy of the world and started working on this to kind of figure out what to do. So we have a nice mushroom sort of area. Then it'd branch off into more mushroom caverns. I built an industrial district. My base was by far the largest. No one else really built a mega base, because by this point the other massive base player had logged off about halfway through this world. They left. But they were building over there. I built an industrial district, which you can faintly see in the distance over there. Not faintly, it's pretty bright. And that was this season. Fortunately, it ended. It just kind of died down. I lost my creative flair. And then that's when I made a horrible mistake and deleted all the videos from Season 2 to Season 4. I deleted them all from my channel. All records of them, other than the few that I managed to find. The few clips I managed to find while setting up for this video. Most of those were time lapses. So what went wrong? Well, unfortunately during Season 2, there was some drama. It was based around the Mayor War, which was the first ever war these realms experienced. And that war was originally kind of peaceful. It wasn't really. It was more so just for the dramatics. In the end, though, it kind of created a divide. between me and the other original creator of this realm, Lightfish. He and Firedog ran for mayor on that realm, and Firedog won. However, Lightfish didn't like that, and so he took power. Forcibly. He stole some very valuable artifacts, and we had a little scuffle. Firedog gave up his power as mayor so that the artifacts could be returned, and no blood be shed. Had another little scuffle later in Season 2. And then Season 3 rolls around, the season of high ambitions. There was the whole Cold War going on. That wasn't horribly serious. That wasn't serious. Like, that was not dramatic. That was for fun, I'm pretty sure. But there was another kind of argument going on between me and Lightfish. He was using some stuff that I didn't agree with, that being like hacks to get power. And he pointed out my corruption, because I was a little corrupt using my power. I've since grown away from that. I don't really use my power anymore. I've kind of learned how to not give in to using power. Unless it's for funny reasons. Like, occasionally there's a bit or something. Or maybe I want to summon a lightning bolt or whatever. But the point is, we were both in the wrong. I believe we were both in the wrong. And that wedge just kept getting more and more. He kept using more hacks to get powers. I kept not letting him do that. And in the end, I banished him from the server, and I banished him in Season 4, right here, and that kind of led to the server dying. After long enough, it stayed afloat for a month or two longer, but then it died. And so then, we go to what I've done since here. Since this very, very bright season, this fun season. What have I been doing? Well, for that, we need to go to Forever War 1. This was the original map. This was a fun game I kind of came up with, just PvP. Yeah, it was just a PvP game. But I wanted to add some lore and all that. And this was like the very first one. Not too advanced. Redstone wasn't that bad. It was really more just fun. But I wanted more. So after finishing this one, a few months later, at the end of Season 4, I went into another world and decided to make a second one. And so, Forever War 2 was born. I'm in survival. Helps to check. So, this was kind of based off the original map. Not really. This was based off the original map from Airfight 1. And I added sandbags. Don't know why. And bunker. And this was the OG map. But I changed the game. Because I wanted there to be more than one playable map. And so, you can change the maps. I built a couple maps. We've got another one. This one's mostly meant for underground fighting. Kind of that narrow hallway combat. Then we have one for climbing, based on the movie Hacksaw Ridge. A little bit, loosely. Everything I do is loosely based on something. Sometimes very loosely, to where you can't even tell that it was based on it. But I'm an inspiration seeker, so I drew some inspiration. And then we've got an unfinished naval battle map. I was going to build 2 battleships, but by that time, I had started the 3rd rendition of the game. I did, however, manage to get a space map with low gravity, all that. But as I said, by the time I started working on the naval map, I had figured out how to do both larger maps and also make the game a little funner. So then we go to my current Forever War project, Forever War 3. So, for Forever War 3, I wanted to go big, like really massive. So I developed a whole kind of lore. So this is a war between 2 factions. And both have their own fronts, both have their own troop movements. Someone rotated that map. Couldn't have been me. I'm the only one that's logged on though, so probably was. And the idea was to have a bunch of very fun battle maps. There were going to be 13 maps for this game. Obviously, I had to keep the classic map, and actually most of the old maps. The first 5 are from Forever War 2. We've got the classic map, the tunnels map, cliff, battleships, space, but then I decided to go bigger than 5 maps. Eruption, military airbase, a city, perhaps a World War I inspired, maybe just a general battlefield, like you see in all the movies, a drylands, desert, perhaps one that's almost entirely in the air, just a nice flat plains biome. And then Ground Zero, sort of a crater. And with every map comes their own locations. And if I could press buttons, I got a few of the maps done. And you can see that this actually moved. And that's because this is a map selector, so you can actually see where each battle is taking place. And all of these stars, except for the yellow one and this slightly pinkish one, are battles. Those 2 are meant to represent the capital cities, and you can see that the map has loaded in. Now, this was a big map, and I worked on it with Firedog Light. He kind of helped me build a few of these maps, and this one in particular was actually made with the help of my brother. And so we've got our little military camp. These are my replacements for sandbags. A nice, luscious, kind of trying to make you go this way. And a much more present water feature. Got a river going through the whole map. The bunker is right here. And a small little military base. There was an idea to have turrets, which would be armor stands that would only fire arrows at the other team. Never really. I got versions, you can see. I was testing over here. And they worked, but they were just meh. Don't know if I wanted them or not. And then we've got right here, bunker with some gear inside. There will be some gear inside, that is. And so this was the first map. And so after this, I wanted a slightly easier map to build. So I ranked all the maps by difficulty. And so, I think... Actually, we went to this map next. So maybe it'll load in. The military base. So, as you can see, it kind of looks like it's been under attack. You've got a whole infantry barracks here that's been horribly attacked. Couple hangars, air control tower, and then we've got this massive facility for some more of that like close quarters kind of melee battle action. And in here we've got another one of those maps, kind of like this is where people would meet and discuss like current battles, what's happening, counters, strategies, all that. So that was this map. Then we decided to make the World War I map, because that's a pretty easy one. And this was the one where I really got Fire Dog Blight's help, because this was a lot of manual labor. And so this was the World War I map. Got our trenches, 2 sets of them, both unique, and then we've got our little bunker here. And this was pretty cool. I love designing these trees, making craters, water, and just kind of really, I feel like I nailed that sort of World War I aesthetic, at least to the best of my abilities. And so then I started work on the next map, being this one. And this one was kind of a throwback to my Season 4 base. It was directly inspired by that. And so it kind of has some of the same vibes, except it has the new tough blocks. And this was very much one that I'm probably the most passionate to build. Out of all of the maps, this one was probably my favorite. And I'm currently working on this room. This is going away. I did not like building. That was atrocious. And so, aside from the temple part, there's going to be a bunch of caves, different biomes. It's going to be what my Season 4 base never was. And as you can see, the way this works is it uses 4 structure blocks to really connect. And that was very fun. Figuring all of the redstone out. You can see all the maps are saved, hand built, already got all the plots designated. And there's 2 different like brain parts. We've got this, which this communicates down to that, saying which map needs to be loaded. And this part is all just different functions. I made it to where you can have custom lives. So if you want every player to have 10 lives, then they've got 10 lives. You just gotta make sure they have enough kits. And yeah, this is the whole kit system. Starting animation. That also sets the amount of lives. This is some passive things like item despawn. This is the circuitry for those like turrets. And there was a possibility that I was going to do something with map events. So like on the volcano map, maybe if you turn it on, maybe midway through the match, suddenly the volcano starts erupting and the map just starts blowing up. Slowly. Something like that. Or maybe in the airbase, just TNT rain starts. Things to add to the atmosphere. And so this down there, this is the brain. This is how it loads all the maps. And you can see each slice, this is what it takes to load all the players in. This is how you actually load the build. And that turns all this on. So we've got map 7 selected right now. So there's a redstone block there. And that triggers this. So when the game actually starts, it places a redstone block there. And that then triggers all of these. But only this one goes through. And then it'll go into its slice. Which is not set up yet. So that's Forever War 3. Still a work in progress. Maybe I'll post some videos on the progress. I don't know. We shall see. But now, it's on to something that I do actually have uploaded content for. 10th Life. So, I've uploaded kind of 3 videos. 2 are full episodes. 1 is just the intro. And this is 10th Life. The idea was following similar to that of the Life series, uploaded by Grian, Hermits, and all of his friends. And it was that you have 10 lives. And the idea was to extend the story out, compared to like Third Life, where it's pretty short-lived. And it just never cut off with the people I play with. They just never got into it. Didn't have time, really. And so it was pretty much just me and Firedog Light, and we started off as allies in our little house over here. And then I went on to build a massive castle. And on my way back in episode 2, he says something, and I kind of just over-dramatized it, because we needed something to happen. It just wasn't entertaining. And so then we had a combat, and in the end, I was going to go on my villain arc once again. I just never have a good villain arc. It always gets cut short. So I did a whole cinematic intro with burning forests and kind of placing myself as the king. And we were just going to have fun. Probably build up some stuff. But unfortunately, me and Firedog just couldn't really get into it. He had stuff to do, I had stuff to do, and about a month went by, and we just kind of decided, oh well. Let bygones be bygones. That's it. And so that was the end of this. Very short-lived. It was quite fun. I really dove into the cinematography on that one intro. Very proud of that, still. And I hope to do similar things very, very shortly. We'll get more onto that later. But next is Womp Womp SMP, which I uploaded 1 video of. And we're going to stay on this world because I don't actually have a copy of Womp Womp SMP. That world was Java. It was Java Edition server. And so we kind of built up with a bunch more friends than usual. We actually had quite a large server. But once again, it just kind of... everyone got busy at the same time. And so there just wasn't an active player base for like a month or 2. And by busy, I of course mean schooling. And yeah, it just never... it caught on, but then it died off very suddenly. Only got 1 episode worth of content, really. Got about 2, but I only made 1 and uploaded that. rather nice. It was very short, but hopefully this next server will catch on. I don't know, it seems like it is, but I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna send it back to where this video started. We're gonna go all the way back to the start of this video. To a new future. So why make these videos? Why make this video in particular? Well, it's because I found my passion again. I am ready to make more videos. And I guess it has to start somewhere, so why not with this one? Why not revisit the past and look towards the future? Because that is right, I am back. And I'm ready to begin again. I love making montages. I don't expect these videos to get that many views, but it's more so for me. It's the fact that I enjoy it. And so I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna play this game and I'm gonna make videos because it's fun. So that's why I make this video. Because I am back and I am ready to make more great memories and montages. So we've got a new server. First episode coming soon. But for now, bye bye.